Welcome. I go by Wise Witch, and this is going to be an intuitive reading using runes and tarot cards for the week of February 26th, 2018. And at the end of the reading, I will pull an oracle card for us from the Universe Has Your Back oracle card deck. So let me just make a little room here, and I will start by shuffling my cards. I'm just going to choose one rune and one tarot card as an overview for the week overall. And then I'll choose 3 runes and 3 cards to represent the beginning, middle, and end of the week. This is just a general reading, so this could apply to any area of life. And my intention is that these messages will reach you at the right time. So just anyone who was drawn to this video, if you stumbled across it, if you just felt called to watch it, or if someone shared it with you, feel free to take any messages that resonate for you right now. Okay, so I'll just cut the deck. As our overview for the week, we have the 8 of Swords. For the beginning of the week, we have the Hermit. For the middle of the week, we have the 5 of Wands. And our card for the end of the week is the 4 of Cups. And I'm going to go ahead and lay out our runes before we start talking about these. So, pardon me while I shuffle my runes. As our overview for the week, the rune of signals and messages, the messenger rune. And this is in reverse, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me put that where you can see it. There we go. For the beginning of the week, we have the rune of defense, averting blockages and difficulties. For the middle of the week, we have the rune of growth and rebirth. And for the end of the week, we have the rune of joy and light. Okay, I'll just set these aside. We have some interesting pairings here with the Eight of Swords and the Messenger rune in reverse. This is the only rune we have in reverse, but it is our overall rune for the week. So I'm thinking some of these other runes and the messages that go along with these other runes and cards, I'm feeling like this is all going to sort of be how we are coping with or responding to this sort of reversal energy. Because when this rune is reversed, it can mean feeling like you're disconnected, feeling like you are missing the signals, like you're missing something, maybe like you've missed an opportunity. Having that paired with the Eight of Swords, let me hold this card up where you can see it a little better. The Eight of Swords is a card of literally sort of hanging in suspension. I think a lot of us are going to be dealing with situations this week where you feel trapped. You feel like maybe there's nothing you can do. And it could be that you are waiting for some outside source to give you permission or move you forward in some way. You're waiting for kind of the universe to sort it out. It's like you're waiting for kind of a messenger to appear or for a synchronicity to show you what to do next. And as much as I am a big believer in synchronicity, I think synchronicities come when you are living in alignment already with who you are and what you want to be doing. And if you're stuck in a very uncomfortable position where you're not exercising your personal power and you're not living in alignment with what you want, that is not very conducive to inviting synchronicity and manifestation into your life. Living from a place of joy, I'm going to go ahead and cut over here just for a moment to the rune of joy. Living from a place of joy is what will set that energy right. This is the rune of joy and light, so I'm hearing the phrase, share your light with the world in order to set this messenger rune right, set it upright in your life, and get things moving. Because even if you don't have what you want, sometimes there is more to growing the life that you want. Oh, and I just said growing, and we have the rune of growth. There is more to growing the life that you want than just snapping your fingers. However, it doesn't It doesn't always have to be a struggle. It can be easy. If you believe that it has to be a struggle, you invite struggle toward yourself. If you believe that there is some miraculous way out there that it could all work out, if you put your effort toward it, that type of energy is going to be much more conducive to attracting solutions to whatever situation it is that has you feeling so trapped and powerless. I feel like a lot of you are waiting for an external sign when, in fact, the universe, the circumstances around you, are waiting for you to act and for you to give some indication. For example, this is the path I want to be on because I am taking a step toward this path, even if it's just one simple step. Because some of you are really suspended in some situation. And this is a general reading, so it could be any area of life. Some of you might not quite feel ready to make a decision, or you might not quite feel ready to make yourself vulnerable by going off on your own or putting yourself out there on your own. I feel like there's some hesitance and there's some fear, which is only human in these types of situations. But if you're dealing with something like this week, just know that you are meant to initiate either getting out of this situation or exerting your own power in this situation to help get it moving or to help change it. Whichever of those applies to you. For some of you, this could be a personal relationship or an environment where you don't know what to do. You could feel like you're always on edge. With the swords suit generally representing the realm of thought and communication, this could be a very mentally strenuous environment. There could even, for some of you, there could even be maybe a little bit of psychological or emotional abuse happening. You could really be kind of getting exploited by some of the people around you. They might not be treating you very well with the words that they say or with the thoughts that they are expressing around you. And that could be another reason that we have the messenger rune, the rune of signals, in reverse. It could be that the signals and messages that you were getting from some of your immediate environment, they could be very damaging, and it could have you feeling like you can't freely be yourself, you can't move. It could have you feeling trapped. And yet, for whatever reason, you might be afraid to try to leave. But you do have to take the initiative here. And for some of you that could be in personal relationships. For some of you, this could be any situation that you're in. It could be a work environment situation or people that you're working with, people that you're encountering. And for some of you, this could be what you're putting yourself through. This could be your own interior monologue with yourself. You could be having very harsh thoughts toward yourself, or just treating yourself very harshly, possibly to the point that it's like you can't let any positive information into your mind. And that could be another reason why we have the messenger rune in reverse. It's like you either don't want to hear messages that are trying to help you in some way, or it's like you don't even register it because you're so entrapped in this mental state. And I think for anyone that this applies to, with it being your mental state, for a lot of you, I think we have this rune in reverse because you might actually need to hear some harsh truths in order to get out of this damaging mentality that is holding you back. You might not even be completely aware of the impact it's having on your life. You might be thinking, why are things not happening for me? Why are things not changing for me? What am I missing? And the thing that you're missing might be your own mindset. There might be some very limiting thought patterns and tendencies that you need to work through so that you can get out of this and your life can start moving again. Going into the first part of the week, we have the Hermit card. This is our only major arcana card for this entire week, so it is possible that the energy represented by this card will impact the entire week. It could be something you're already feeling. It could be something that carries over into the week after this one. It will be that energy of kind of wanting to retreat with your thoughts and be a little bit introspective. And we have it paired with the rune of defense and trying to avert or prevent difficulties and blockages. This rune will often come up when you are learning how to recognize problems before they arise, or when you're learning to recognize tendencies in yourself that hold you back, and you're learning to see that before it happens and make better choices. So the Hermit card could represent you, or possibly someone in your life, maybe kind of withdrawing as a way of processing some of these lessons about yourself that you need to really absorb in order to let them benefit you in living your life in a better way. Now, for some of you, you could be withdrawing out of defense. It could be, if you're one of the people who is in a very toxic situation right now involving others, you could be retreating out of defense just in order to gather your thoughts and make sure that your response to the situation is going to be what it needs to be. Another element of the Hermit card which can also be interpreted as a form of internal defense, it has an association with truth. The hermit is often depicted holding a lamp of some sort, and here we have the little lamp on the turtle's back. And this represents the light of wisdom, illumination, and truth that we can all carry with us. Once we have had some of these truths illuminated for us, we carry it inside from then on. And I think that is also tying into having the rune of joy and light later in the week. This inner light that you carry, it can also be a form of defense, in the sense that no matter what is going on around you, no matter what kind of environment you find yourself in, you can still turn inward to the light of your own self-worth and let that guide you out of this situation. You know, you need to believe that you deserve better than a toxic situation that is making you feel trapped and powerless. And for those of you who are dealing with harmful mental patterns, harmful thoughts that are holding you back, this could be indicating that the best course of action for you this week, especially toward the beginning of the week, is to take some time to really just honestly sit down quietly with your thoughts and get it sorted out. And even for some of you, I'm sensing that the hermit might be a trusted person that you seek out to help you with some of this. It could be a professional. For some of you, it could be a trusted friend that you confide in. But just whatever you feel is necessary to get these thoughts sorted out and rediscover that inner light that we all have. And rediscover that inner sense of positive guidance and support and that inner sense of self-worth. For those of you who are in a difficult place in an intimate relationship, I think this signifies one of two things. Either you are retreating a little bit this week and doing some soul searching, possibly in response to some difficult conversations or exchanges that might be happening with this person. You could sort of be withdrawing out of defense a little bit, or this could be what your partner is doing. It could be that if you really get your partner cornered this week, especially with your words, if you get them feeling like they have no way to defend themselves, like they're powerless in this situation, they are probably going to retreat as a way of defending themselves. And I'm getting the impression that you should let them if that happens. You can let them know respectfully and compassionately that you're here to talk when they're ready, but let them have that time to look inward and sort of recalibrate realign themselves with their sense of self-worth, because in order to have a productive exchange that's healthy for both of you, you both have to be coming from a sense of your own worth and your own power. If one of you is feeling powerless, that's not good. That will need to be rectified. And the first step to that is maybe giving each other a little space so that you can each get quiet and go within, and then come back to it when you both feel strong enough, especially mentally and emotionally strong enough. With all that being said, it does not surprise me that our card for the middle of the week is the Five of Wands, because the Five of Wands represents anxiety. I can totally see how all of us in all of these different circumstances that I've been describing, this could all be very anxiety inducing. But I think the Hermit applies again to this card, because the answer to anxiety, the best way to calm your mind and your emotions in the face of anxiety, is to get quiet and go within. I really suddenly feel pulled to just put the idea out there that if there was ever a week when we could all use some time for meditation, I think this week is the week. And even if you don't usually meditate, really all you need to meditate is just a few quiet minutes. You know, you don't have to try to jump right into quiet mind meditation where you're trying to just completely empty your mind. That can be very challenging if you're not used to meditating. Meditating can just be as simple as getting quiet so that you can observe your own thoughts and notice what's really on your mind, and just kind of let yourself follow the gentle paths of your thoughts. Not in such a way that you're getting worked up and having a panic attack, but if you feel that sense of anxiety rising, just acknowledge it and then try to think past it. But I just wanted to put that out there. I do feel like this could be a really beneficial time to just carve out a few minutes once a day to just meditate, even if it's like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Especially with the Hermit card being here and the Five of Wands being here. You've got to find a way to soothe this anxiety, because the anxiety is probably what's causing this sense of being trapped and powerless, and it's like a vicious cycle, and it's just contributing to it. And for those of you who are dealing with being in a toxic situation around people who are getting you down, or sort of being trapped in your own mind with your own negative thoughts, this anxiety is something that has to be calmed. And we have it paired with the rune of growth and rebirth, so I'm thinking a lot of you might be growing out of it. You might be growing past it this week. You might feel yourself start to make a shift away from whatever situation is causing anxiety in your life. some of you could actually be having anxiety about growth. And that might be why you feel sort of trapped, like you're afraid to move on when you need to because you're having this anxiety. But I really feel like it's time. For those of you that applies to, I feel like you are holding up progress by clinging to where you currently are. I feel like it's time for you to grow out of this anxiety, which is not to say that if you struggle with anxiety, it's not to say that you just completely wake up one day and it's gone, but I do feel like you are growing into a new way of being or a new way of thinking. There's something new coming into your life, probably on an internal level. It could be an actual circumstance somewhere in your life that is making you feel this way. But the Five of Wands is predominantly about thoughts, feelings, your internal landscape. So just remember to keep coming back to the messages from the Hermit card and even the message from the Rune of Growth and Rebirth, to just keep coming back to your inner sense of self-worth and just knowing that whatever happens, even when things are beyond your control, you can always come back to that inner sense of being enough just by being who you are, like out of all the possible incarnations you could have had in this life, you have this one. You have worth inherently just for being a human life. And another aspect of the Rune of Growth and Rebirth is the entire cycle from birth all the way through growth, death, decay, and then rebirth. It's really the whole cycle. So some of you could be going through the period of clearing out to make room for new growth, and you might sort of be hanging on to some things that you need to let go of. I feel like some of you are hanging on to situations the way that they are, the way that they have been, when you need to let them change, and you might even need to prompt them, to prompt these situations to change for the better. And that could be what's causing you this anxiety, because you're in resistance instead of being in alignment with what is naturally wanting to happen. Because this cycle of death and then decay and then rebirth, it can happen in any area of our lives. Our relationships go through these cycles. Our careers go through these cycles. Our feelings of motivation and our ideas go through these cycles. And sometimes, whether it's stepping away from a project that you've been working on or bringing one project to an end, realizing that a relationship needs to change if it's going to grow. These are all just examples of areas of your life that this could be playing out in. But it can be scary sometimes to let these things change, because a lot of us are afraid of losing it altogether. But just know that whatever this is, if it's meant to stay in your life, it will grow in such a way that it stays in your life. But if you don't let it grow, then it could die. I know that language sounds very doom and gloom, and that's not what I mean, but if you don't allow a relationship to grow in the way that it needs to, or if you don't allow a project or an idea or any situation to grow in the way that it needs to, even if that means taking some risks with it, it'll just be stifled. And you'll be trapped, like the Eight of Swords. You'll feel like you can't move forward because you're afraid of what moving forward will mean. So don't be afraid to let things play out in their natural course this week. And when we get to the end of the week, we have the Four of Cups paired with the Rune of Joy and Light, which is a very interesting pairing. The Four of Cups is typically a card of not appreciating what you have, potentially being so fixated on what you want that you don't have, that you are not seeing the good things that are being offered to you. That is another reason that the Rune of Signals and Messages is in reverse for this week. Some of you might not be seeing a good opportunity that's right in front of you. You might be picking it apart and thinking, oh, well, that's not this thing that I've specifically been waiting for. But it could be a really good opportunity for you. So don't immediately discredit anything unexpected that presents itself to you, especially this week. And some of you in a personal or intimate relationship, either you or your partner could be, or not necessarily a partner, you or the other person in this relationship, or the other people in this relationship, they could be focusing on everything that's wrong and not focusing on everything that's going well, in which case you might need to take the initiative to point out to them the worth that you do have in whatever this situation is. If it is a relationship, if it is an intimate connection with a partner, it could be either of you embodying this energy. You could be the one who is just feeling like you want something more, and that's really your choice. That is something that ultimately you have to do some soul searching and decide for yourself, but make sure that you're not taking it to a controlling kind of place, because you don't want to push your partner into this defensive stance of feeling like they're inadequate. Make sure that you express any of your emotions and thoughts this week in a very compassionate way. And take responsibility for what you're wanting and what you're feeling. That's not to say that you can't work with a partner or someone that you're intimate with to work through it, but be careful not to blame too much. Because cups are the suit of emotions. So whatever this is, I feel like it's largely emotional. And you have it paired with the Rune of Joy and Light, which I'm hearing the light is trying to illuminate for you what you are not seeing. So going back to the Hermit card, this could be a week to really do some soul searching and be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, is there anything I'm not seeing here? This could also be a good week if you don't already keep some kind of gratitude journal. This could be a good week to try doing that, because that can really help if you're feeling anxious, if you're struggling with self-worth, if you're struggling with feeling discontented, feeling like you're only seeing the bad stuff. Or even if you feel like somebody around you is only seeing the bad stuff. Some of you are on the other side of this situation, so I don't mean to only talk about one possibility. But yeah, keeping just a little gratitude list of just all the little things each day that you're grateful for. Like, I had a roof over my head, you know, I had good, clean, nutritious food to eat. You know, I had clean running water. It doesn't all have to be very, very basic stuff, but it can be. Just the little things, you know. I got to have a cup of hot tea, and it was so soothing. Just any little thing like that to try and get you thinking about what is going well in your life, and thinking about what you are doing right in your life, so that whatever is going on for you, you can approach it from a sense of feeling empowered and feeling like you do take good care of yourself. And again, with the rune of joy and light, I think the answer to the Four of Cups, if you're discontented or if anyone around you seems like they're discontented, it's to let yourself embrace your joy, whatever that is. If there's an opportunity that is coming up for you that deep down you're kind of interested in it, and yet you're also afraid to go after it, whatever it is. It could be in any area of life. This is saying that if it brings you joy, that's the direction you should go. For a lot of you, it could be work-related opportunities where you're thinking, oh no, that wouldn't actually be a good fit, or oh, what if I took it and then I didn't like it, or you know, any of those things. But this is saying that if you think that this is aligned with the path of your joy and your life purpose, then don't just focus on the negative, focus on the good things that are available to you. And for others, this could even be a relationship opportunity that's coming up for you. There could be somebody who wants an intimate connection with you, and you might be afraid to pursue it or to let it happen. You might even be defending yourself from intimacy by being the hermit and always retreating. It's good to retreat sometimes, but sometimes you actually need to share your light with others, which is another message coming through from not only the flame on the hermit card, but also the rune of joy and light. Sometimes you need to share your light with others. And again, if this is an opportunity coming up in your personal relationships, especially your intimate relationships, make sure that you're not just thinking of all the things that could go wrong. Think of all the things that could go right as well. And if it brings you joy, then it's worth at least considering. So I think this is going to be a week of stepping into your personal power and getting things moving in areas of your life where things have felt stagnant. And I think for a lot of you, this is going to be a week of maybe considering some options that, on one hand, make you really happy, but on the other hand, they could seem a little scary to you. So let's choose our oracle card. And keep in mind that the examples I give in these readings, they are just the most prominent impressions that come to my mind. But if the general message still fits you, then by all means, feel free to apply these messages to your life in whatever way they seem to fit. You don't have to force it, but, if I say something and you think, oh, that sounds just like what's going on with me, then don't worry if that exact example doesn't come up. I'm just trying to give you guys some general ideas of how this could be playing out for some of you. And our oracle card, when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. So, in a weird way, I think ultimately the solution to this Eight of Swords energy of feeling kind of trapped and powerless, or feeling afraid to take the next step, to take action. I think the way out of that energy is going to be surrender. Surrender does not necessarily mean continuing to just hang there in whatever situation this is that you're in, but surrendering in the sense that you trust in the universe. You trust in your higher self. You trust in your own self-worth. You trust that if you take a step onto a path, that what needs to happen will happen, so that the rest of the way will be guided. And the thing I love about these oracle cards is if you'd like to use that as just a mantra for the rest of the week, feel free to do so. When I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. Especially if you really struggle with meditating. You could just repeat that to yourself for a couple of minutes, just quietly, over and over. Just say it. You don't have to count how many times you're saying it or anything like that, but just let yourself say it for, set a timer or something. just for a couple minutes and just sit there and just say it until your time's up. So I really hope this reading was helpful for you. I do offer private readings, and if you enjoyed this, if you got something out of it, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I just want to thank you all so much for watching. It means so much to me, and I hope you have a magical week.